Have you had time to process yet? It's been a little over 24 hours since the Cleveland Cavaliers took over this Donovan Mitchell trade right out from underneath the Knicks. We thought we had it in the bag. We were wrong. This video isn't going to be necessarily about the trade itself. That has been played to death. It's more about where do we go from here? What is this team going to look like this year and in the future? What do you want to see happen with the Knicks? My name's Caleb and welcome to The Beat. So just a quick recap. Danny Ainge got the Cleveland Cavaliers to give him 3 unprotected first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, and 3 players. That's including Colin Sexton, who in a sign-and trade for $72 million, 4-year deal. One of the picks was their first-round pick this year, so they kind of got 2 players and 4 picks. The thing about the picks, though, not just that it's unprotected, it goes out until 29. So they have the 25, the 27, and the 29. That's 7 years away. Plus, with the swaps in between those years, the Cavaliers, for a 5-year span, have complete control. The Jazz have complete control over the Cavaliers draft. I know a lot of people are feeling some kind of way. Some people are so angry. How could you miss this? This was a superstar. He wanted to be here. He was put in our lap. Why didn't we give up everything we possibly could to get this guy here? Then you have the other side of the camp that has been screaming, play the kids from the beginning, that we don't need them, too small of a front court, you name it. The truth is probably somewhere in between. Usually is. When I first heard the news, I was pissed. And I don't know if I was upset because we lost out on a potential superstar, or if we just lost out. I couldn't reconcile that, because when you really break it down, when you take that emotion out of it, Danny Ainge was looking for so much that we talked about not wanting to give up. As a community, for the most part, people were talking about, I'll give him 2 picks, maybe 3, but only 1 or 2 players. He wanted RJ, Grimes, at least 3 picks, unprotected picks. He wanted IQ. At the beginning, we also offered him Mitchell. And all of that they said no to. So either they don't look as highly on our players as we do, or the whole time he was just using the Knicks kind of out of spite to bring up that cost for another team that he did want to do business with. Speculation. But for me, I was bummed out. And I'm sure part of it, I'm getting up there, I'm a little bit older. I want to see a Knicks championship. I'm 40 years old. I lived through the 90s basketball teams, watching the Knicks with my dads, fighting against Michael Jordan and the Bulls, and it was fantastic. I love those years. And then we had 20 years since. So for me, maybe I'm getting a little impatient, but that sting of the news, it hurt. It hurt. We had a chance to bring a guy in that wanted to be here, and I kept looking at it as, once we got him here, and not the future side of it, we'll talk about that in a minute, but once we got him here and he started dropping those 30-point games, a 40-point game, and this guy was electric. He was so fast. His footwork is so fast. And unfortunately, now that he's in the East, we're going to see that a little bit more firsthand. But I really felt like we missed out. Again, taking the emotion out of it, I can feel bummed out. I can feel pissed that we didn't get him. But it's also a smart move that we didn't give him unprotected picks till 2030, that we didn't give him RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin and Grimes. Because whether you want to believe it or not, we needed something after him. We did. He wasn't the player. He was a stepping stone. So you need assets after that. The Cleveland Cavaliers are looking at their team that they're young. They have Garland. They have Mobley. They are in a position where they can bring that guy in, and now they're going to be competing for top 5 in the East. And once you get into that second round, anything can happen. I understand why the Cavaliers did it. And I also understand why the Knicks and Leon Rose didn't want to go past those 2 picks and 2 players. Although reports, if you believe what Woj says, that we are giving them everything. Just here, take our team and we'll take back 1 player. We'll figure out the rest in free agency. But instead of harping on this, what do we do from here? Where do we go? What does the team look like moving forward? I believe that if Leon Rose sits on his hands and does nothing and says, hey, we got it in Brunson, we have RJ, we have Randle, and we're going to do this as a team, people are going to be screaming for his resignation or to get fired. Because how, on one hand, can you sit there and hold on to these kids, whether it's Grimes, who apparently was untouchable, Obi, IQ, all these guys, and say that they're so valuable to us, but we're not going to put them in a trade for a 25-year-old bona fide star. So we have these players now, and you want them to play behind Randle and Fournier? If Obi starts off the season getting 10 to 15 minutes a game, it's going to be a joke. If Grimes starts the season off playing behind Fournier and only getting 10 to 15 minutes a game, it's a joke. We need to play the kids. If we're not going to use these assets that we acquired, whether it's through trade in the draft and we didn't go up and get Ivy. So Leon Rose needs to do something. He needs to find a place for Randle. He needs to find a place for Fournier, which I like him as a backup if he's behind Grimes. But even then, he's putting a wall behind if we keep Cam Reddish. So we need to get rid of some of these guys. And honestly, I'm looking at a player like Derrick Rose. You have a player who I absolutely respect. I think he is a fantastic player, and he's probably one of my favorite Knicks right now, easily. When he's out on the court, he is just so fun to watch. And you can argue that he is somebody that is going to mentor and is going to tutor and is going to be somebody like IQ and McBride and even Brunson can look up to and go to for advice when things aren't quite going their way. He has been a relief valve for Tibbs for years. But even Rose, I believe, should be traded. If we're not going to go somewhere this year, if we're not making that trade this year, we need to find out who we have. I don't think McBride is going to be a starter in this league. Maybe he's going to be a great backup. I don't know. I could be wrong. But the fact is, we don't know. I don't know what IQ is. I don't know what Obi is. I don't know what Grimes is. These are all players that, as Knicks fans, we sit there and we cheer and we love them, and somewhat they're homegrown guys. But if we don't know what they are, and if we don't know what they can do on the court, how are we ever going to sit there and be able to reconcile that we didn't get this guy or we did keep these guys? It's always going to be a question mark. And with Tibbs, as much as he is a fantastic defensive-minded coach, he is his own worst enemy. He continues to get in his own way. So you have to take that away from him. Don't even put the option there. It's like an alcoholic sitting there and putting a beer in front of him. Get the vets out of there. Randle's a good player. His head's messed up, but he's a good player. Fournier is a good player, and I think Fournier is a great teammate. And Rose is probably the best teammate out of all 3 of them. But the fact is, we need to find out what these kids are. I don't know if we can get rid of all 3. I don't even know if we can get rid of 1. I would like to see 2 go. Get back something. Get back an asset, a future something. Not going to be easy, especially Randle. He's a slow-paced player in a fast-paced league. He is a tank that doesn't want to play bully ball. That's a tough place to be. That's a tough place to be. I know I'm asking a lot to essentially tank the season. It's not tanking. I want them to play. I want them to play hard, and I want to see what we have. And if that means we end up 5th in the lottery, great. If that means we end up somewhere in the playoffs, fantastic. But at least we know where we're at, and at least we know what we got at that point. I've been ranting long enough. How about you let me know what you guys think down below? Am I completely off base here? Should we go after more vets like a Carmelo Anthony? Or do you think we should just strip it down and start over? And how do you feel about the Colin Sexton 4-year deal? Do you think it's going to be worth it? Or do you think Ainge is just going to flip it? And finally, are you pissed about missing out on Donovan Mitchell? Or do you think it's a blessing in disguise? Let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.